So threading a patcher is pretty straightforward, at least once you've done it a few times. The important thing to remember is what kind of thread wind you're using. This is the type that would fit here, and it's going to spool off the edge. So it's wound on here to be used that way. So if you're going to put mount thread here, you need to make sure that you're using this kind of a spool. I mainly buy my thread in the larger industrial cones like this, and this thread is designed to pull off the top. So to keep the thread from twisting, you need to use the right spool and wind. So first thing we're going to do is wind a bobbin. All right, so we're going to place the bobbin onto the bobbin winder, the shaft that comes out. It's a compression fit. It doesn't go all the way on. It just sort of sticks on sort of near the front. So once we do that, we're going to pull the thread down and wind that onto the bobbin. But make sure you don't have the needle threaded. If you have the machine threaded, you want to take it off of the needle or it'll make a tangle in the machine. Go ahead and pull down that little lever, tighten it up so it's in contact with it. Wind the thread onto the bobbin. Once you get enough on there where it's going to stay secure, go ahead and hold the end of the string and then start to wind the bobbin. Once you can see that it's winding, you want to guide the thread to make it wind evenly as you can. Make sure to hold the thread when you cut it so that the bobbin doesn't unwind. All right, so that last video was really out of focus, that portion of it. So this is the bobbin hook that goes in the machine that holds the bobbin, and that little leaf spring there holds tension on the bobbin thread. So when we go to load this, we want the bobbin to spool off in the direction like this, the same as that slot. So we'll take a look at our bobbin, see which direction that's coming off. I'm going to match that with the slot. You put the thread through, put the bobbin in there, you take the loose side of the thread, and that goes into that slot. Okay? From there, to hold tension, it's going to go under that spring, but you don't need to put it under there. You just need to go ahead and find that small hole. Put the thread through the small hole. As you pull tension on that, it should fall underneath the leaf. If it doesn't, you just pull it over like that and pull it up underneath the leaf. Just like that. Here we are back at the machine, and what we want to do is align the shuttle bobbin hook carrier so that it is aligned just like that, backed up against the long arm. There is a notch that carrier is going to pick up, and so that's right here. We want to make sure that those are aligned when we drop the bobbin into the arm. So it should fit in pretty freely and loosely. Right there, those two have to align. Now we're going to go ahead and thread the machine. So you've got your thread, either a spool that's on the spool holder or an industrial spool that spools off the top on a holder of some sort, and we go through the lubrication pan. From there, that little spring that just sort of holds tension down on the string, and we're going to find, I use the hole that's closest to me at the machine to go through there. All these things that go through just create friction and tension on the thread. So we'll go through that front hole like that. Align that spring over it so it goes through the center. They would sometimes put a sponge in there with lubricant on it, but with today's threads you don't need to use that. I'll show you that there's a little pin in the back there that it goes around. Then it comes through the adjustable tension spring assembly, then through the eyelet. It's a guide eyelet here. From the guide eyelet, you pull some of that out. Then we're going to go through the top, which is the spring tensioner. And you're going to want to have the foot lifted when you're doing all of this so that there's no tension or very little tension on that adjustable tensioner. This is I call it a thread pusher. Basically, it's a rod that has a little notch on the end that allows you to push the thread all the way through the needle tube. So you kind of hook that and then push it all the way through down to the needle. There is another leaf tensioner inside there, so you may have to rotate that rod as you put it down through there to get it to go past. Now we're down at the needle, and you've pushed the thread all the way through. It's probably a good idea to grab the thread. I didn't, but luckily it didn't go all the way down, so you're able to pull it out. And now we have the thread down at the tip of the needle. You want to make sure that your needle has the thread trough to the outside. So if you'll see, there's a slot in the needle right there, and the thread is going to hide in that as it goes through the material. So you want to make sure that it's to the left. That's my pup. She's not too happy I'm not paying attention to her. So then we're going to thread the needle, and it goes from the left side on this machine, or the outside, and through, and then it needs to go between the toes of the foot. So we'll pull some thread through, and then we'll place that to the back. Just like that. Now we can close up the bobbin cover with the bobbin thread out the front, and you hold tension, not too tight, but you want to hold that needle thread, and you're going to want to rotate the machine so the needle goes in, it's going to get picked up by the bobbin hook and pulled across, and now it's hooked the bobbin thread. So we're going to pull that lead string there, the thread, to pull the bobbin string up, and with a needle or whatever you have, your fingers, you want to pull that out. And so now we have threaded a singer. That may have been tough to see while I was actually physically threading it. So this is just an overview. So down through the lubrication tub, through the hole, around the pin, through the tensioner, the adjustable tensioner, then through the eyelet, that's a guide eyelet, then to the lifter, which gives tension and slack for stitches, and then we thread it down through the needle tube. And I have the thread loose. You shouldn't look like this when you're about to sew, but you can see that I've got a loop here showing you the thread trough, and then it goes from left to right, and then underneath the foot. We're ready to give it a try. All right, this machine, we're going to do a test stitch. I just cleaned this a few days ago. I didn't think to wipe the oil off. It's going to have oil coming out of it for a while. I'll post that video later on how I basically get an older machine and then sort of clean it up but not completely restore it. But this, you'd want to wipe the foot off before you start it. Getting used to this treadle. This one stitches really well. I got it from a guy that repaired riding boots, and he had gotten it from a lady who did the same thing about 12 years ago. I'm using a fairly large thread, probably the largest I'd want to use, just to make this visible. I also use yellow to make it easier to see. And here is back stitch, and this machine has excellent alignment after it's cleaning and very little adjustment. Need to work on my close-up video photography, so forgive the blurriness. Has a really nice stitch. Both sides turned out pretty good. Like I said, sorry for the blurriness here. But I'm very happy with this machine and its performance. So if you like these videos, let me know. Comment below if you want to see something different. I'm just getting started, and I really enjoy doing this kind of content. I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of other things coming up. But if you've got questions, I'm happy to answer if I can. Point you in the right direction if I can't. And let's tamp down these stitches and see what they look like. They look pretty good. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to make many more. Give me a thumbs up if you think I deserve it, and hope to see you again soon.